Films like Dead to Rights are shining a light on China's wartime sacrifices and resilience, bringing these powerful stories to audiences at home and abroad. Chinese filmmakers are reclaiming the narrative, telling history with depth, emotion, and artistic strength.
Excited to have you once more, amazing viewer. Thank you so much for your continuous love and support. Thanks for your feedbacks as well. So I'm here to address a feedback I got before we dive into this compilation. So there's a comment that was suggesting me to diversify the people who react to the movie Dead to Rights. And as I said earlier, this isn't a fictional movie. This is something to note. And you have watched the previous clip. It's saying that Chinese are reclaiming the narrative. It means there's so many lies out there, and I understand that comment in that perspective. But on the other hand, after I've unpacked so many lies that people believe about the world and about China on this platform, I am not surprised by that comment as well. Thank you so much for being keen to that. Thank you so much for that. So in this video, we are going to see more and more people speaking about what happened. And also there are people who believe that Chinese can only propagate propaganda. So that's also something that I don't want to really listen to. So I cannot leave anything that I see of help, out, because people want to believe something coming from a Chinese.
So he believes that Japan invaded China is a lie. Why is there a war is because Chinese people committed terrorist attacks. And Japan's action back then was in response of self-defense. Basically, Japan has the right to defend itself from these terrorists in Nanjing. Same brutality, same excuses. All the genocidal regimes are always the same. Last year, an open letter signed by 45 American physicians and nurses describing the devastation in Gaza. And their estimated death toll in Gaza is around 300,000 people. 300,000. That's exactly the same number of people who died in Nanjing. There are so many things I want to say, but I don't feel like I need to say it anymore.
Do you want to know why Nanjing Massacre is a Chinese propaganda? It is true. But not because it didn't happen. It's because everybody in Nanjing died or left the country to form another country or province called Taiwan today. My parents and myself are born in Nanjing as first and second generations. Like most people from Nanjing, we're all transplants because everybody died.
Like, you could look this shit up. They used to be doing crazy shit to Chinese people. Like, there's a man out there right now, I could probably find his face. Okay, so I found it. Survivor from Nanjing Massacre. You go ahead and watch that video, and he describes what happened to him, his mother, and his brother. Disgusting work. Just know it involves babies being stabbed. Like, there is no way that should be justified, so that lets you know that you're about to hear crazy shit. Go ahead and watch that video. And this kid in particular actually tried to scratch Japan off the map, thinking that he could erase it. And someone responded, if you know that the Japanese soldiers used to rape women from China, Malaysia, Indonesia, South Korea, and kill them all, then pile their bodies like garbage when they lose the war, you would too. Now, all of that might sound insane and or far-fetched if you don't know anything about like Japan's history or imperialist Japan and what they were doing to people. But like, you could look this shit up. They used to be doing crazy shit to Chinese people.
This year marks the 80th anniversary of China's victory in the People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. A heroic 14-year struggle that shaped the outcome of the war.
I might offend even more people by saying this. I want more movies to come out talking about the atrocities committed by Japan before World War II and during World War II. For one reason or another, the West has given such a pass to Japan that we don't even talk about the atrocities committed by them. It's like, oh, we did something bad to you. Oh, did you even do anything bad before that? No, only perpetual victims. If you're offended now, you might need to scroll away because I might offend you even more. People also don't seem to understand that if it weren't for those being dropped, more people would have been unalived. I know this is a hard concept to grasp, and I know a lot of people don't have the cognitive ability to understand things like that, but more people would have died if those weren't dropped. And trust me, I don't want any innocent person to be unalived for any reason. However, if I were given the choice between 10 people being unalived and 25 people being unalived, I would probably pick the lesser amount. It's not even like Oppenheimer was glamorizing or glorifying what happened. That's the thing that gets me to where I'm really confused. Because whether we like it or not, Japan was the villain in World War II. And even before that. More people were unalived by the Japanese in that period than any of them were unalived during the... Again, that's not to say that that isn't bad. I'm just saying maybe we should, as a world, okay? Maybe we should talk more about all that Japan has done. Because for some reason, it gets swept under the rug.
A yellow, waxy substance with many live flies struggling to fly away. That's what Lin Youyue, a retired schoolteacher, found in an unexploded bomb right here in Yunnan, China. So what had he discovered?
It was May 4th, 1942, and Lin was living in the city of Baoshan, near China's border with Burma. At exactly the same time, flying tigers like Bob Neal, Bob Little, and Charles Bond were stationed in the exact same place, living in a converted temple just down the street.
That day, a wave of 54 Japanese bombers descended on the city, dropping explosives and incendiary bombs all over. 10,000 people were killed. Perhaps even worse, though, were the bombs that didn't explode, and that's exactly what Lin found.
He didn't know it, but he discovered the work of Japan's notorious Unit 731. They called it a maggot bomb. It was divided into sections. One had a soupy slurry of deadly bacteria. The other section held live flies.
On impact, the casings were designed to burst. The flies would then be splattered with a slimy coating of cholera germs. The insects, finding themselves free, would then fly off, dispersing the bacteria wherever they went through an already decimated city.
At the time, 25 to 50% mortality was typical. The disease spread like wildfire, killing 200,000 victims across an area the size of Pennsylvania. In some ways, for Japan, it was a huge military success. The Chinese army didn't dare base troops in this strategically important region because of the disease.
But is biological warfare ever justifiable? Can you think of a single scenario where it would be? I certainly don't think so. Let us know what you think.
Imagine helping a stranger and the army burns down your entire village. In 1942, American pilots crash-landed in China after bombing Japan. That was after Japan surprise bombed the US at Pearl Harbor. So after the US pilots crash-landed in China, Chinese villagers hid them and protected them even though they were under invasion by Japan themselves. I'm actually aware that happened back then. I'm in Suzhou here in Zhejiang province of China. So the people in China chose to hide them, save them, protect them, even though they were under invasion themselves. And if the Japanese found out, they would even add even more killing to what was already happening here. And they did. Around 250,000 Chinese civilians were massacred during the retaliation. The memorial here in Suzhou honors these heroes, and yet I don't think much people know. They had nothing to gain, no shared language, no shared country, but they chose courage and they chose humanity. Maybe this is the kind of stories we need to remember. Humanity. And I think that's something we should all remember in 2025.
This was a terrific movie. It did a lot for preserving history, which is something I always talk about. It definitely showcased the courageous acts of everyday people. It really struck a chord with me. This dealt with the unity that was the Allied powers in China. And that is something, unfortunately, that we seem to be walking away from right now with current geopolitical affairs, and something that I made it my mission to help turn that around so that we get along better. This film is a message and a reminder that if we work together, we can do great things.
Think again. This year marks the 80th anniversary of China's victory in the People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, a heroic 14-year struggle that shaped the outcome of the war.
I opened a box and I found the horrible pictures of the war with dead corpses, bombings, everything.
It's really important we talk about the actual situation of the world, and because the Japanese, they never really apologize of their actions.
Japan, you guys are not gonna distract us with your sushi, key, anime, Attack on Titan, Solo Leveling shit. I mean, you guys have this aesthetic, beautiful country. I never knew this dark history about the country. I mean, you guys are way worse than literally the Germans. I mean, what the actual fuck? The difference between the Japanese and the Germans was that Germans just said, you know what, guys, you call us, we committed war crimes, we take full responsibility. But the Japanese said, Nah, who the fuck are you guys? The Nanjing Massacre is literally one of the craziest shit out there. If I talk about everything I read, it's literally so gory that it will, like, TikTok will not even allow me to post this. I mean, you have to see it and read it for yourself. And I was like, maybe I am falling for some sort of propaganda, so I had to recheck and see a lot of different sources, because I thought Japan was this beautiful country that were innocent, that got bombed by the USA in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The craziest part is that there are a lot of Japanese people on social media literally denying the Nanjing Massacre. I mean, the Nanjing Massacre, you know, the Japanese officers, they would literally take babies, throw them in the air, and when they're coming back, they would literally catch them with the bayonet. Like, these niggas were literally like acting anime. They were literally playing video games. They were just having fun, or like literally people. I mean, read it for yourself. Like, they would literally come to the city and then mutilate all the women, and then the men, they would like sit them down like as groups, and then all of them. Like, bro, Japan, I never knew you guys were these devil, bro. I mean, you gave us Naruto, Attack on Titan, Solo Levels and shit, and Sushi. But man, you guys are the original devils. Again, this is what I mean. I never thought I would see this day, like Japanese people acting like this. I mean, the amount of Japanese people coming into my messages telling me to delete the propaganda Chinese video is absolutely crazy. Now, let me tell you something. I never got paid off China. I don't know nothing about China, bro. I literally dig that history, and I will talk about it, and I will not delete it. It's my platform. But you can sit here and deny the Nanjing Massacre and say, oh, it's a fiction, it's fake, it's Chinese propaganda. But the reality is that what happened is true. The Nanjing Massacre actually happened. You can literally look up and read it and see it from a lot of different perspectives, sources that are not biased. Over 300,000 people were just massacred, men, children, older people. Like, it did not matter for the Japanese. They were like, we do not care, we will just massacre you. Tens of thousands of women were just raped. Families were literally just executed. I mean, mind you, like, literally, when I say families, like, just think of from grandfather to the youngest, like, literally family just disappeared from the face of planet now. Literally none of them, none of the DNA is still alive. I mean, what the actual F? I mean, especially like when you think of it, how can a human even think of it, something like that? The craziest part is that the soldiers were having contests, like killing contests. Who would have, like, they were playing Call of Duty in real life. Who would have the most kills? These niggas would just drink, and then just have fun, like smashing, raping, killing. Like, they did not care. Especially like it doesn't even make sense in my brain, bro. Like, the Japanese, we know, like, what the fuck? Give credits where it's due, though. I'm not gonna lie, I have to give credits to the Japanese PR team, the way they rebranded themselves. Wow, you guys went from like committing crimes against humanity to all of a sudden this cute sushi aesthetic anime country where everyone is so innocent, so I cannot see Japan like the way I used to see it after reading like the rape of Nanjing. It's like, what the fuck? And the craziest part is that none of them were held accountable because of the USA. I mean, if you become an ally of the USA, it seems like that you get away with a lot of crimes against humanity. It's because of like the data they got from the Unit 731, and I'm not going to talk about Unit 731 since I'm doing my research. I'm not going to talk about something I haven't done my research on. I'm still doing it, but so far it seems so effed up, bro. Like, what the fuck? I'll talk about it when I finish it, but to the all Japanese people coming to my messages telling me to delete it, no, I won't delete it. I'm not getting paid from China or something. I'm just talking about a fact. This is a fact, a historical fact. You can't deny it all you want, but it's just so weird, bro. I never thought you guys were like this. Obviously, I'm not generalizing, but I'm talking about the ones that are in my message. Get the fuck out of my message.
Japan got away with way too much shit during the Second World War, and they had one of the most insane rebrandings after the war. When Japan invaded China, and specifically Manchuria, they created Unit 731, which was a biological and chemical warfare research unit. They would inject people with diseases or give them STDs and just let them fester to where they would just die of the disease, or it would get really, really bad. They would amputate people's limbs. They would dissect them alive. They would forcibly impregnate them and study them that way. They would dip them in freezing water and watch them get hypothermia, and then they'd try to fix them. The list goes on, and these were experiments, but it was like a, for what? You know, it's like, what information are you going to get? Oh, if you set this guy on fire, he's going to die. Yeah, okay. And what happened when the war ended? Well, the United States gave them immunity in return for the information they collected. Also, when the Red Army was closing in on where they were doing their experiments, they basically killed all the prisoners and tried to blow the place up so that there was no evidence. But all the prisoners obviously died, but the structures were a little too sound to be destroyed completely. The Japanese also had the Nanking Massacre, or the word that rhymes with grape of Nanking, where they basically killed 40 to 300,000 just civilians in the capital of China, which was Nanking at the time. And they also forcibly had sex with about like 40,000 to 80,000 of the women there, which is absolutely disgusting. And I think to this day they've admitted it like once, kind of, and they've been like, oh yeah, sorry about that. But they basically do not acknowledge that part of their history at all, unlike Germany, who's like, yeah, we did World War II and it's really bad and we're so sorry about it. After the war, obviously, Japan was still known as the enemy, and so they're like, all right, we got to rebrand somehow. And so they came up with kawaii culture, which is like cuteness culture. So the whole Hello Kitty anime, all those things that are, you know, known as cute. And it was very successful. You know, people today look at Japan and they're like, oh, Hello Kitty, oh, Pokemon, you know, all the cute little things that they make, the little vending machines that dispense burgers or stupid shit, you know. They're like, oh, Japan, they are so cute, they're so awesome and innocent, they would never do anything. No amount of anime will hide Unit 731. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Follow for more.
So what happens when you got your sources from Japanese backing information sources? Like, what the fuck do you mean the numbers are hella inflated? Yes, I mean, you got a point. Like, it was 200 to 250k people living in Nanjing, but you do know as the Japanese were advancing, a lot of people moved to Nanking like just to seek refugee, and there were safe zones. I mean, you can look it up from different sources, and it's not even like, you don't even need to look from American sources or Chinese sources. You can just look up from neutral point of view and just read it for yourself. There's this book called like The Rape of Nanking. You can read it. Like, I read it 7% of the book so far, and bro, I swear to God, this shit crazy. My friend, the craziest part is that the Nazis thought what the Japanese people were doing to the Chinese was so bad, and they were horrified by it. A man called John Rabbit, like, he literally came, yeah, and made a safe area zones for the Chinese people, and he actually saved a lot of Chinese people. Mind you, a Nazi. The 300k might not be exact number, but the thing is this, it's an estimation. It might be even higher, bro. That's the craziest part. So, I mean, instead of saying it's hella inflated, bro, you can look up from a lot of different sources and they all estimate 300k. And you know what, bro, instead of denying, why don't you like follow me to Nanking, bro? We can go there together. Like, I haven't been there, but I'm planning to go there, like, after I go to London. So we can go there and see if by ourselves, bro. You're welcome to follow me.
It's common knowledge that 70% of the human body is water. That's right, 70% of the human body is water. And we have the Chinese to thank for that. Or to be exact, the Chinese victim that had to suffer a horrible, agonizing death to thank for that. I'm talking about the Japanese experimental concentration camp 731, or to be exact, Unit 731. You see, what actually happened? The Chinese victim was basically put into a chamber and dried out like jerky to find out how much water was in the human body. This was like being locked in your car in the height of summer with all the doors and windows closed. Think about it. But instead of the heat from the sun baking you in the car, there's a inlet for a dryer, a high-powered dryer that dried you out like a prune. It would only take an hour or so before you passed out and died. But the Japanese scientists continue to dry the victim out until they became a jerky. That's right. Totally dried out. Like cardboard. And the sad thing is, they were sadistic. They took pleasure in this. And thanks to the good old USA, these sadistic, evil Japanese war criminals basically escaped. First, by disposing of their Chinese human guinea pigs, all of which suffered agonizing experiments on them. But secondly, and perhaps the saddest, they escaped justice because the USA wanted to use this knowledge for themselves. So remember, the innocent wouldn't hurt a fly Japanese experience that we all see now isn't the one that China experienced in Unit 731. Imagine this scenario. You are locked into a room with your only child. A room, if you like, that was full of gas. A gas chamber. But you only had one gas mask, which meant you had two choices. Should I keep the gas mask on myself and let my child die? Or give it to my child and then I will die? And if I die, what will happen to my child? You can imagine. These would be the most agonizing questions asked by that mother as the gas filled the room. One of them did die, while the other survived until the next experiment. That's right. This was one of the many experiments that was carried out during the occupation of China by Japan during the Second World War in Unit 731. But yet, outside China today, very few know about this human guinea pig death camp. So, I'm here to tell you about one of these experiments every 2 days. So, like and follow for more.
I completely understand how Chinese feel when they look at what is happening and people wanting to control the narrative, and Japan not being able to take up for what they did. You know, I understand. There's a genocide also happening in my country, and the people behind it keep on denying. And I never knew it was affecting me in a way until I met a person from that country coming to ask me for help. I helped, but not with my full heart. So we can't pretend that we love them. No, they need to take up for what they did. It was insane. It was disastrous. The explanations that you're seeing right here do not depict the full image. Just look at what happened. Like I watch clips, not the entire movie, because my heart can't take it. Because whenever I watch it, I also reflect on what is happening in my country. The first day I posted that review, I didn't post a video for 2 days because it scared me. And I felt so sad. Because some of what was shared there, some of the things I heard,